Now, this makeup tutorial, Beauty Blunders, I seriously have been waiting for my whole life. I have seen makeup done well so many times, and I have seen makeup not done well so many times. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn some tips on what not to do and do your makeup. So I'm going to have this side of my face be the side of the face that is how you're supposed to do your makeup. And these are some common mistakes that you'll see. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with foundation. And a common mistake that people make with their foundation is that they use the wrong shade. And sometimes this is because they weren't properly matched. You know, it's important to have your makeup, your foundation makeup matched by a professional. Or sometimes maybe it matched at one point and then it no longer matched. So I'm going to put on this shade. It's about 2 shades too dark. And it's not going to look terrible. It's going to look like maybe this matched me last summer. And now it doesn't quite match me anymore. But I'm not giving up on it. I'm just going to keep going and I'm going to keep putting it on. So this is beige N200 for those of you that might be keeping track. Because sometimes what happens is people have a foundation, it's not particularly the right shade, and they put on so much that it kind of gets a bit of a yellow sheen. And then what happens is you get a nice line of demarcation of where your foundation stops, and your neck starts. Now, it could be that if I just did a little bit right here and I blended it in, I might say, looks good. But when you put it all over, it looks a little bit dark. And another problem that people sometimes do with their foundation is they put on way too much. And they feel that they're going to look better and better the more they put it on. It doesn't work. So you might look at this right now and think, that doesn't look too bad. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the right color foundation on here. And you can see that you don't have to be off by a lot to have your makeup look bad. Your foundation has to be perfect. And if it's not, then it's gonna make everything else look odd. So this is my actual proper shade of foundation. And you know, I thought about going 4 shades darker or picking a really orange color, but I wanted this to be kind of realistic of what mistakes people actually make. But I don't know if you can see with this foundation, which is the beige N150, my neck and my face are the same color. I know you get the shadow there, and if you look over here, I've got kind of this brown line that looks a little bit like my face went on vacation and my body stayed at home, which is really not a look that anyone is going for. So not too bad, but just wait, okay? So then a lot of times people like to set their foundation with powder. And a common mistake that people make is they use way too much powder. So I'm gonna go with a mineral powder foundation. And sometimes people kind of don't have a sense of when they should stop. And I'm going to show you what that looks like when that happens. So normally what happens is they put it on and they're like, okay, that looks good. And they're like, oh, am I still a little bit shiny?
You froze.
I'm not frozen. Unless does anyone else see me frozen? No.
You're okay now.
Okay, so I think it was your internet, unless other people saw me frozen too. So they kind of dig in deep with their powder and put it on. And if you can look up close, you're going to get a lot of fine lines around your eyes being covered so much in powder. And in real life, it can make you look a lot like you kind of have that sort of cadaver sort of face going on. In the powder that I prefer is a little bit of translucent powder. It will set the foundation. It won't change the color. And it's not going to get into your fine lines. So you're going to have a much more natural look on this side than you would have on this side with like 3 coats of powder. Now, some people put on their under eye corrector, pardon me, I've dropped a few things, before they use their concealer, and some people do it after. And that's not one of the blunders. One of the benefits is putting concealer on top is that it has light diffusing properties. And so it's going to make the dark circles not look so dark, and it's going to reflect light. But a mistake that some people make is they're like, oh my gosh, my dark circles are so bad. I need so much concealer. And they put it on. And then they're like, oh, I have too much on. I'll blend it. I'll blend it. And they're like, look, my dark circles are gone. and they're replaced by giant whitish yellow bright circles. Now this is how you really put on concealer. You just put a little bit where the darkness is and you just dab it in, and it will get rid of that shadow, and it won't leave you with yellow raccoon circles. So with all of this side, it's too much. And if you were here in person, you would see that I look heavily made up. I don't know if you can tell as much through Zoom, because we all look better on Zoom than we do in real life. As much as people complain about Zoom, it's wonderful for your looks. Like your makeup looks perfect, everything. So we've got our base going on. I've got a nice kind of natural, flawless look over here. And then over here, I'm pretty made up. So the next thing we're going to go into is eyeshadow. And a very common mistake that I see is when people put shimmer up here. When you put a shimmer color up there and the light reflects on it, it looks like very disco go-go. And especially in Zoom, look at how white that looks. I don't even have that much on. It's just the shimmer that makes it look like that. And so once your eyeshadow starts like that, there's pretty much nothing you can do to save it. My advice is to either put nothing up here, or if you're going to put a base coat up there, you want to use something that's matte. This is Biscotti. Because as of right now, I have a nice base that I can mix colors on. There is nothing I can do to unshimmer that eye. And if you have crepey eyes or you have like wrinkles on your eyes, it's going to make them look significantly worse. And then the next thing that people will do going into their eyeshadow is they'll allow a line of demarcation to show. So I'm actually going to let you choose. Joyce, what color eyeshadow do you think I should wear for my contour color? I'm going to do a two color look. You don't want to pick one? Joyce is really not excited about picking a color. Would someone else like to pick my contour color?
Emerald Noir.
Well, I don't have all of them here. That was too hard.
Okay.
We'll go with moss. But I kind of meant green or blue, but that's okay. So what some people do is they'll be like, all right, I love the moss. I like the, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll put it on the bottom half right here. And if you look, you can clearly see where the green stops and the white starts. And it looks very fake. I'm going to use the same color on this side, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend it. Is I'm going to put it on, and I'm just going to go over it with little circles so that you can't see where the Biscotti starts and the emerald ends and the moss ends. And so what happens is it builds a really pretty look that accentuates your eyes so that my eye is sticking out more than my crazy eyeshadow. And then the other thing that sometimes people do that can be a problem is if they want to put more in the crease, they start on the east side and they go all the way across. And then they're like, oh, it's kind of dark on the inside. Let me blend it. And before you know it, their eye is looking pretty bruised. Oh, I did that on the pretty side. Hang on. I'll pretty up that side. We're going to putting the darkness on the inside. It makes your eyes look closer together. It's just in general a pretty unattractive look. So I'm going to save that look, that side, and just put some Biscotti over it. So that's a little tip. If you ever screw up your eyeshadow, blend it until it looks good. But it would take a lot of blending to fix this look right here. All right, too much. Less is more. And that's not just because we're from New England. I'm gonna take a little bit more of this and do it on the outside, a little bit of the brown. Up my eyeshadow game. You can't see where any of the colors stop and end. And you get a nice natural eye that's kind of jumping out in a pretty way, not in a, wow, that's a bold eye choice, which is the look that we don't want. Now for eyeliner, there are a lot of different things you can do wrong with your eyeliner, but I'm going to talk about putting on too much because that is one of the worst things that you can see. And so I'm going to use the gel eyeliner because I thought you guys might be able to see a little bit better. And so sometimes people just, they put it on and maybe they're remembering their days from the 80s, or maybe they saw it in a magazine where they always wear a lot of eyeliner, top and bottom, and they go, oh, now it's uneven. It's thicker here and not here. Well, I'll just thicken the outside. Kind of like when you're cutting someone's bangs and you just keep adding more and more and more, going inside and out and along the bottom. And people that are really addicted to eyeshadow under their eyes, it's almost like an intervention needs to be staged because there's not much you can do to make it better. You can try and rub it up, but a lot of eyeliner under your eye. Look at how much smaller this eye looks compared to this eye. I am actually not a huge fan of black eyeliner, even though that's the most popular eyeliner. I like a really dark brown for most complexions, because what I feel like it does is it thickens your lash line, but it doesn't draw attention away from your eyes. And I like to do a little on the outside corner, but that's it. So again, and you can kind of see it's almost comical compared to that, but how many of you have seen eyeliner like this out and about? I see it a lot. Okay, so then our poor little friend over here decides to put on her mascara. Mascara, most women's favorite makeup item, and they go, oh, I want them nice and long and thick. Oh, that's good. You know what? Maybe a little more. It's my birthday. You know what? I can't really see it. Let me go ahead and put on some more. By the time you hit 3 coats and people just keep going over and over again, you're kind of going to have one giant eyelash, no matter what brand you're using. And then we'll put a lot down here. I just love mascara. It makes my eyes pop. Too much mascara looks super fake. I'm going to show you 1 coat with mascara. Now, I typically use 2 coats, but I'm going to show you how effective 1 coat is. And when you do your mascara, 1 coat means you start on the inside and you go across. It doesn't mean you keep going until the brush is empty and you dip back in. I'm going to do a little on the bottom too. And if I want to add a 2nd coat, I'm going to do the same thing. I start on the inside and work my way out. This is the ultimate mascara. And I'll do that over here. So what I've done is I've done a nice job of accenting my lashes. I've got a pretty lash line as opposed to getting up fancy. And what some people say is, oh, this is a good everyday look. And this is a really good like going out look. Do not go out like this. This is not a good going out look. You know, that put on your fancy dress, but don't put on that. All right. Now we're going to go to eyebrows. Now, you all know I love my eyebrows. And so I'm going to do them right first. And the best way to do eyebrows is to just take some pencil and to fill in the little bald spots with little hairs. I did not wear eyebrow pencil today, knowing that this was coming. And it was crazy because I always do. And I'm going through and I want a more defined looking eyebrow. So you can see how this one just looks more polished than this one. Well, here's the biggest eyebrow dilemma that I see. When people say, you know what? I kind of want an arched brow. I kind of want longer brows. I'm going to fundamentally change the shape of my eyebrows. So I'm going to go up a little higher. And I'm going to build in an arch because I've always wanted a dramatic arch. And they don't stay within their natural line. And even if they do it in a really natural looking, a look that might look nice on someone else, it's going to look super phony on them. The other thing is just using way too much eyebrow pencil. So here I've got my nice arched brow. And from here, it probably doesn't look so horrible to you, but I got to tell you up close, this is a monstrosity. We're up close, you can't look away. It's like a car accident, I'm telling you. This is bad news. Like you're sitting there and you're trying not to stare, but you can't help it, man. You can't help it, you're only human. All right. You have to keep your eyebrow pencil within the natural confines of your lashes. The only acceptable thing would be if your eyebrows ended too early. How do you know if your eyebrow ends too early? You take the pencil and you go from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eye, and that's where your eyebrow should end. So if you have some that end here, it would be totally appropriate for you to lengthen them just a little. But you know, like in the 20s, it was like you brought them way down. You got to know when to hold them. You know what I mean? You got to know when to fold them. Okay. A wise man once said. All right. So now we're going to go on to blush. And I really struggled with this one because I'm like, which blush atrocity should I focus on in my Beauty Blunders event? I mean, I don't know when I'm going to do another Beauty Blunders event. So I had to really think like what I was going to do. So I'm going to show you nice blush. Okay. Nice blush is up here. And you come down just a little. Right now, this is the trend for blush. From here, you come down to about here, and it should fade away. Okay? Now, there was a time when it was apples of the cheeks. I'm using the same color. Do you notice the different effect with this and this? And I see it, and it makes me sad. It makes me afraid, actually. Or sometimes you'll see people go, you have to make that face. If you're gonna have ugly blush, start by going like this. Because that's the first step in getting your nice little Nike swoop that you're gonna have going up your face. Oh my gosh, do I look like I lost 10 pounds? Oh, I think I do. I definitely think I do. Less is more with blush too. You'd think I'm actually trying to encourage you not to purchase things, but that's not it. These are the same products, except I use a different eyeliner so you could see it. It's just how you go ahead and how you put it on. But no look would be complete without contouring. Am I right? I'm right. So I'm going to contour properly over here. I'm going to say, you know what? I've been eating a little more during the quarantine. Want to have a little bit more of a hollowed out cheekbone. I always use an eye brush to contour. I do a little stripe of contour and then I blend it down. And then I always go over it with my finger because I feel like my finger always blends it nicely. And then, but over here, I'm going to contour and I want to look like I lost a lot more weight than that. So I make a nice thick line right here. Stripe of pink, stripe of brown. From here, it kind of looks thin. It looks like it goes in a little bit more on this side than this side. But from here, I look like my 3-year-old did my contouring. All right. So that's no good right there. All right. Contouring should be super, super subtle. When you're done with your contouring, you should look at it and be like, can you even see it? And if you ask yourself that question, then you did it right. If you're like, oh yes, I can clearly identify exactly where it is, I could measure it with my ruler, then that means you have too much on. So what do you do at that point? You can put a little foundation on top. Okay, same with the blush. If I want to correct this blush, I don't have to wash my whole face and start over. I could just put a little foundation on top. That would solve my problem. All right, so now we're gonna close it out with lipstick. And oh, I could have had a field day with what people do wrong with their lips. But again, I had to choose. So one thing that people do wrong with their lips is they draw their lip liner just a little bit outside, either because they think it will make their lips look bigger or because general lack of skill. So I'm going to do that right here. I have a plum liner. I guess it's called berry now. And I'm going to do it just outside my natural lip line. All right. There's a name for this in the makeup artistry field. It's called Lucy lips, because I Love Lucy always drew her lips outside her lips. And again, you know, I have some lip envy, so I want to go outside a little bit. Another problem with this lip liner is that using a really dark liner, it's not fashionable anymore. And if you go ahead and you fill it with like a nice plum lip, then what's going to happen is you're going to kiss off your lipstick or something, or get some on your coffee cup, and then you're going to have a ring around the mouth because lip liner stays on better than lipstick. So this side, I'm going to actually do on my lip line. This is going to look really weird when I'm done. I'm going to hold up a piece of paper maybe. And now I'm going to put color in. And so recently I threw a lipstick across the floor that I said I hated. And Donna Lawrence said, well, why don't you return it? And I grabbed it and put it in my pile of stuff to return. And then I dug it out of my pile of stuff to return for this. Okay. So this is just not a good color for me. It's just too dark. I think it's because my hair is so dark and my skin is light. And when I put on this lipstick, it's so incredibly dark. I do better with the brighter colors. So on this side, I'm going to do a little sassy fuchsia. And now we're going to do an experiment, okay? Va-va-va-boom. Do you want to take me to a dance right now? I know you do. Okay, so this is my normal face, my made-up face, the way I want it. This is my beauty blender face. Don't I look kind of scary here? Like I might show up in your nightmares maybe? Or like, if I was your kid's teacher, like, do you want this to be your kid's teacher? Or do you want this to be your kid's teacher? Okay, so maybe you have a son and he brings home his first girlfriend. Do you want this to be his first girlfriend? Or do you want this to be his first girlfriend? There's a general impression that people get when they look at you. People tend to make their first impressions, like they say, like within the first 7 seconds or something like that. And you want your makeup to accentuate your best features and not cause people to jump to in, conclusions such as, she's put together. She doesn't know what she's doing. She a hot mess. So I hope this helped. I'm sure none of you watching this ever made any of these mistakes. But now if you see a friend, she makes a mistake like this, you can say, oh, you know what? My friend Deirdre showed me this really cool tip about how to put on blush. Let me show you what it is. I'm trying to learn how to do it. And that's how you handle it. You act like you're the one that doesn't know how to do your makeup. And then you show, and that's how you give it a little tip. Or you could stage a Mary Kay intervention. And that's often called booking a Mary Kay virtual party or in-person party. You just say to your friend, I'm having a Mary Kay party, we're doing makeovers, right? But then let your consultant know in advance. Here's the thing. You have got to talk to her about contouring. And then your consultant will work it into the conversation, making the world beautiful, one twisted face at a time, all right?